Hello, welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and we will be getting our game on. Don't worry about that, but it's very important that I tell you about something happening today, because for those of you who sub to my channel and mention in comments all the time that you need beta codes, today, thanks to Wizards of the Coast, they are going to sponsor a stream of mine on Twitch TV, and it's going to be for 24 hours. I will be staying awake for most of those 24 hours. I'll be doing my very best. I'll probably have to take a break in there somewhere, but I'll be up for most of those hours, and I will have beta codes that I will be giving away. So my instruction to you, I have a certain number. I'm not going to talk about what that is, and it's first come, first serve. So it's important, if you want a beta code, to try to come by Twitch TV at my channel, Covert Go Blue. There will be a link in the description, and mention that you need a beta code. And hang out for a minute. I might not be able to get it to you right away because I'm going to be gaming, but I will do my best. If you say, and this is the important part for you, you need to come by and say, I am a YouTube subscriber. May I please have a beta key? Something like that. It would also help if you told me something about what video you like the most from my YouTube and why, because that also helps me identify the real fans from the people who are just showing up to get the codes and might want to sell them on eBay, some crap like that. So when does this happen? It starts at 2 p.m. Pacific Coast time today. So looking at my clock right now, that's about 7 hours from now. And then it runs for a 24-hour period. Somewhere in there I'll have to sleep. So if you log on and I'm not around, I'm sorry, but I will be back. So keep checking on it. And it is sponsored by Wizards of the Coast. They have given me the beta codes to give away. They have given me a stocked account where I have access to every card in the game to play constructed for 24 hours and build all the crazy decks I can possibly think of. So if you don't need a beta code, but you just want to hang out, please do. And by all means, come give me decks that you want to see played. I'll have access to every card in the game. 4 copies of every card in the game. I can play anything you want me to. I'm not sure how many people will take me up on that offer, so it may be a while before I can play your deck. But that's what's up, and that's the party. So now, announcement over. Let's get into some games. Remember, if you need that beta code and you are a YouTube subscriber, a viewer of mine, I want you to have it. I want you to get it. So come out to Twitch, mention that you are a YouTube subscriber, get in that chat room and say something to me, and also try to mention your favorite video or your favorite moment from YouTube so I know you are a legit fan, not somebody posing as one to take my codes, the Wizards codes, and sell them on eBay. Thanks again to Wizards for sponsoring the stream. Thanks again for the beta codes to give away. I'm sure my fans will love it. And we're going to kick things off with some mono red. Just the way Richard Garfield must have intended, since that's a joke that's gone around some. The magic is Garfield intended. Sure. I bet he intended a lot, just mono red versus blue-white control forever. I'm sure that's exactly what was in his mind when he designed 5 different colors you could play. Yep. Let's see if we can draw anything out of our opponent here. Probably not. I think I might wait to see if there's a Karizev, as that would account for a lot more damage, but it feels like this Bomat has to die. So even if there is a Karizev, what? I get hit for 3, then the next turn I probably get hit for 3 again. It's a lot of damage. Compared to this would just be 4 total damage. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Scrounger, well, I don't want to push that even though it's a similar amount of damage. The Benalia tokens and the Bugler are pretty solid against it. However, like I said, still a lot of damage. Hopefully, though, we can draw a First Strike Knight that just doesn't care. So we'll get rid of the Bomat Courier now. Rup, no 2-drops. Sadness. But obviously our plan is like history into hopefully into a Lyra. And we're not dead by then, which we'll see. Our opponent didn't play a haste creature this turn. That's nice. Land number 3, Chain Whirler, hitting nothing. But, this is going to get rough. All right. We got the lands. We just need to stall. Unfortunately, we're very likely to take 6 right here, as our opponent will probably bolt their way through this token. After our opponent bolts their way through the token, the history will crank out a second knight, and another history will crank out another knight, and our opponent will have to get through 2 creatures. Hopefully also spending mana on some kind of a lightning strike means they don't play another threat this turn. And it looks like that's the way it's shaking down. So I think we still have a chance here, despite being low. Oh no. An Inventor's Apprentice is very unfortunate there. It means that they got to really have an excellent turn. So here we go. History, bias time. I don't have any 1-drops I can get off this Bugler, or else I would Bugle instead on the hopes of playing a 1-drop card. But everything is 2-drop or higher with the Bugles. Alright. Make some blocks. Actually, if we block here, it might kill it. But we're down to 4. And it does kill it, and the 4 mana does Chandra, which means Lyra will not save us.
When people start screaming, oh, today's my lucky day.
And unfortunately, neither will the Ajani. So that's game. One more turn, darn it. Also, 1 more point of damage. So mistake casting the Fatal Push. I should have just Fatal Pushed the Bomat Courier instantly. If I had 1 more life point, it is possible the Chandra could have gotten me to 1, but the Lyra could have saved me. So, oops. Opponent with a clutch curve out where they got to Lightning Strike and Inventor's Apprentice there. Without that, I think we would have absolutely been in the game. But that's why you play 1-drops. Would have also been nice to be on the play. Whole different game on the play. But that's the red life. Alright, so our opponent's got white, so we want to play our black knight. And that's going to make it really tough for little creatures to attack out of the white deck. Ooh, blue and white. What have we here? Perhaps some kind of a tokeny theme? Anyway. Let's send in our Knight of Malice. Get the attacks going. Boom. Let's pay a life and slam a history. This is going to be more of the curve we're looking for. This is what we need to be doing. Some 2-drops. And some histories. Walking into a John. Doing God's work. Alright. There we go. Slam it. Not a lot to think about here. You could bind to the Benalia, but I don't see a lot of point there.
Together, we are unstoppable.
And let's pump up. I think the Vigilant creatures make sense, because we're going to want to... Well, I guess it doesn't matter that much. Let's just pump both attackers and get in there.
See in yourself what I see in you.
Let's just keep the pressure as high as possible. The opponent will have none of this curve. They will have none of it. So... Sweet. Well, kids, what have you learned in today's video? Curve out. Don't miss your 2-drop. Just go 2, 3, 4 like a boss. Some days that's magic. You play a lot of games with no decisions, get to the ones with good decisions, is sort of the way I try to look at it. And that means sometimes you shrug your shoulders and you're like, hey, winning was easy, or losing was just going to happen no matter what. And then sometimes you get to really dig in. All right, let's see what happens with this hand. This is a pretty neat one. We don't have Binding, and we don't have History of Benalia or Ajani, which are the 2 most powerful things. But we have Paladin of Atonement, a card that doesn't get a ton of play and might be useful here. It's only one way to find out. So when we lose life, it gains a counter. We lose life with our deserts. So you'll see that we're going to be tapping the deserts for pain damage when we don't have to necessarily. We'll play that one since I plan to play the Deadlands next turn. It just gives us the most options. All right. So here we go. Pay 1 life. Paladin of Atonement. Let's get it going. The earlier we start, the bigger it can get in the game. Our opponent's going to play a Pride Mate, so we've got kind of a showdown of two similar styles here. I could stop the Pride Mate with a cast down, but I don't have to right now. I could offer the trade with the Paladin. I don't think our opponent will like it, that. So I think my Paladin's likely to get in, so let's do it. If they did take the trade, I'd be pretty happy because I have a Bugler. Can get me some card advantage. But let's play the Bugler now. Let's pay a life with the Deadlands so that we grow our Paladin. Buggle into what? We could Buggle us into Buggles. We also have another Paladin here, but Paladin's much more effective on turn 2 than most other stages of the game. However, we do get kind of double service off of any damage we take. This is pretty tough. But I think I want the Freebooter, as it's a black permanent, to pump up the Knight of Grace. Although my opponent may play one too. Yeah, this is pretty darn close. If we're going to turn this into a grind fest, though, perhaps Bugling into Bugling is the play. Although, yeah, with Binding, it's so tough. Yeah, I'm going to Buggle into Buggle. It's not as mana efficient. I know it's Bugler, by the way. This is me thinking I'm funny. I know it's Bugler. I like to say Buggle. I don't know why. I can't explain why. But I feel like we might be in a grindy game, and these are good bodies to have on the ground. And you can pump, once you get an Ajani going on them, the Vigilance, it's kind of where you want to be. They also block History of Benalia tokens very well. Maybe my opponent's into that. He's looking at my Paladin. He's going to Essence Extract my Paladin. That's going to gain me 2 life, but it's going to gain my opponent 3 life. Oh, 3 life. It's going to gain my opponent 3 life and pump their Pride Mate. No blocks. I can't go for that. I think now we want to consider a binding on this Pride Mate, but I am a little worried about getting my bindinged. So some things to think about. We could also just cast this Pride Mate down. I feel like saving binding for a Lyra or a Resplendent Angel, something else, is probably a very fine move. So I think it's a cast down Knight of Grace kind of moment. Let's start with an attack. Let's play the land. And we can hold up this cast down and see what our opponent does. I don't think there's a lot of issues there. I could get Supernatural Stamina. That would be very surprising, of course. There is your Resplendent Angel. We talked about that kind of card, which is probably more of something we need to kill. Nice animations. It is not legendary, so we could cast it down. And I suppose Pride Mate, you know, with effort, becomes a big creature on the ground, which makes the Angel a much juicier target. All right, let's Buggle. Someone out there is tilting when I say that. Let's Bugle, I mean. I feel like I want a piece of my opponent's hand because I don't want to have this binding get bindinged. So we'll go that way. It also gives us a black permanent to pump the Knight of Grace. Vraska's Contempt, Renewed Faith, Vampire Sovereign. 5 mana. When it enters the battlefield, lose 3, gain 3. Easy pick on the Vraska's Contempt. Our opponent will be able to grow this Pride Mate, but we'll be able to Ixalan's bind it. Alright, get in there. The Sovereign's such an interesting card. A 3/4 flyer is not something I can completely ignore. So it might actually have to be bound, which is... ugh, feels filthy. We could also Deadlands it a few times. It's an option. Here we go. The Pride Mate is pretty locked up, even after Renewed Faith is cycled. The opponent doesn't want to trade it with these. There's a Fatal Push. That can trade with the Pride Mate. So, yep, that is a big draw. Let's go ahead and lock down the Sovereign. Let's push away the Pride Mate. All attack. Land, go. The Renewed Faith will have to cycle into something nice. Obviously, opponent suddenly having a Fumigate or something of that nature would be a bit tilting. Renewed Faith, cycle. Gain 2 life, draw a card. And it's all up to the top of the deck here. 1, 2, 3. I can attack for 12 next turn. My opponent is at 13, making that particularly awkward. Here we can get back a Paladin of Atonement or pump our creatures. I think pumping our creatures is right. Hard to go wrong.
Our kinship ensures our victory.
So where would these go? The Knight might be the hardest thing to remove. The Freebooter is airborne, but it's also the biggest lightning rod, so it's the most likely thing to die if our opponent draws a removal spell, and their removal spells are not damage based. So I would put a counter on the Bugler and the Knight, and our opponent would likely be very dead the next turn. Okie dokie. Feels like these games are flying right by. We've had the quick red curve out, then we curved out, then that game went pretty fast, so I think I can go for one more. Sweet. This is it's a pretty good hand. It doesn't have a history, but it has a Fairgrounds Warden. If our opponent's on creatures, that's good. And it has a Freebooter and a Knight of Malice, so if our opponent's not on creatures, those are good. And it goes into an Ajani on the play, so, yep. Yep. That's the ticket. Our opponent's name is Drink with Class. They are a silver rank, and they are ready to go as well. So leading on the Courtyard, as it has an expiration date, it has to be played by your 3rd land drop or it enters the battlefield tapped. Flavor text, where high society and dark opportunity intersect. So what is that in modern life? High society and dark opportunity. Like the back rooms at the major sport, like the skybox at the Super Bowl, something like that. Do we boot him? Do we knight him? The knight's obviously the better creature. The booter's the bigger lightning rod. It's a red deck. Either one could be total shock bait. I guess if something's going to be shock bait, I'm going to jam the boots. Let's get a look at what we're working with here. And we see Banefire, Lightning Strike, Combustible Gearhulk, and 2 Glorybringers. It's big red. Woo! Alright, well, I guess I can get my opponent to... Banefire is a good card, but it's also expensive and clunky. So I think if they're I guess I can get them to spend that on the Freebooter. I should take the Strike, and then they likely don't have a play for next turn. Let's rock and roll. Double Glorybringer, though. We're going to have to find Cast Down. It's one of the better cards we have for that. Alright, let's get this Knight of Malice on the board. It's likely to get shot. Let's hope not, though. If our opponent just holds their Banefire. then Ajani can come down and get to work. And he's got to get out way ahead of these burn spells, because Glorybringer's gonna really pressure Ajani. Will we see Banefire on the Knight, I wonder? If he okay, that's good. Banefire on the Freebooter. Get back your Lightning Strike. Lets me play Ajani.
It's good to see you.
Get back the Freebooter. Get the Lightning Strike. And now we just need our opponent to brick on lands. We've got a Warden for the Phoenix that's coming down. But we really need our opponent to brick on lands, because the power level that they're going to be bringing out is going to hurt bad. Exerting the Glorybringer, killing the Freebooter, killing the Ajani, it's going to hurt. Actually killing the Fairgrounds Warden, I'm sure. So we just have to roll as if they're going to brick on these lands. Pumping the Fairgrounds Warden can get it out of range of the Glorybringer if I get multiple turns. So I'm going to take that line. And I guess I can start pumping this one too. And just hope if our opponent bricks here that we get another turn to pump these.
Look how far you've come.
But here we go. This is about to get blown out. And I don't think there's much I can do. So, is it a land? It is not! They missed the land drop and they scoop immediately. Like I said, some games have decisions and some games, it is what it is. Well, I'm going to leave the video there. I do like the Knight deck. I do like it quite a bit. Let's go talk about it for a second. When it curves out, when it goes 1, 2, like 2, 3, 4, it is a really solid deck. Those starts are hard to beat. So let's have a look-see. We got Fatal Pushes, we got 4 Knight of Grace, 2 Paladin of Atonement, 4 Knight of Malice, and 4 History of Benalia. That is the Knight part of the deck. The rest of the deck is not Knight-centric. We don't have Knight Lords, we don't have Radiant Destiny, things like that. So we're kind of just playing a good stuff sort of build. Freebooters help out against the control matchups. Cast Down, Fatal Push, Fairgrounds Warden, Ixalan's Binding help out in the creature matchups. Lyra Dawnbringer tries to bring it all home with some big over-the-top power. Ajani, Adversary, Tyrants. The Fairgrounds Warden I don't find to be a particularly great card, but we needed some exile removal in addition to the binding, and we wanted another hit off our Militia Bugler, so we found both in one place. I do like my Buglers. They have been... I haven't whiffed yet, so it's always like 3 mana, get a body, and get another creature, which is similar to History of Benalia when you think about it. Plus, the creatures you hit have like some kind of utility. The selection's really nice, as you can hit a removal spell or a discard spell, or something that's pro-white or pro-black or has life gain. So it's a pretty good one. And then, of course, Ajani. He stitches everything together. His -2 to get back the creature that's most effective, or his pluses just to make your creatures super effective, gives us good game against red. All the deserts help you use your Paladin of Atonement for good effect, and they provide like your late game mana sinks, because this deck can certainly run out of gas in the late game. So usually your late game comes down to activating deserts. All right, I'm gonna leave that for the quick deck tech. I hope you enjoyed the video, but we're on our outro. We're going to hit you with a little reminder. If you're in for those beta codes, if you're a sub of mine and you want to get into this game, please come out to the stream on Twitch. It'll be going for 24 hours starting at 2 p.m. Pacific Coast time today. It's in like between 6 and 7 hours from now and runs for 24 hours. I'll try to be on most of the time. Get in there, say that you are from YouTube, say you're a subscriber on YouTube, and say your favorite moment from YouTube, from a video, so that I know you're not here for the code on eBay. All right. So, please, by all means, I want to get more people in this game. And if you're watching this and you're already in this game, don't be like, ooh, I'm going to sell a code on eBay now. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. Let's get our friends in the game. Let's get as many people who are cool and want to play this awesome game of Magic into the game. right together so we can all battle each other. All right, let's be net positive. All right, this is my plea to my little group of the internet right here. Let's be net positive. Also, join the Discord. God, if you're into being net positive and loving Magic, join the Discord. We've got cool people hanging out, talking Magic, sending deck lists, things like that. All right, now we're gonna play the proper outro. I've got to say one more time, thank you to Wizards of the Coast. They hooked me up with these beta codes. They're hooking me up with a stocked God account where I can play any cards from the game for 24 hours. They are sponsoring that stream. Hashtag sponsored. Thank you so much, Wizards of the Coast, for that. All right, and thank you all for watching this video. And until Nighthawk puts up his video telling me I can't have his catchphrase, I will see you later.